Hey everyone, and welcome back to episode 7 of the Create Mod tutorial series. Today we're going to be building a drill that will allow you to get the max amount of diamonds and netherite depending on where you place your drill. If you missed episode 6 of the Create Mod tutorial series, make sure to go check that out in the top right hand corner of the screen. And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more Create Mod content. But anyways, let's jump into the video. So to get started, let's go over all of the items needed for this episode. And I'm going to warn you now, it's a lot. It's very expensive because what I'm showing you is a drill that's going to mine an entire chunk at a time. So it's giving you the max amount of diamonds per chunk. Now, that being said, you can shrink this drill and make it to whatever size you would like. So maybe watch the video before you design your own drill or copy this design because this is a lot of items. But probably if you've been watching this tutorial series, you have a pretty good amount of items up to this point, and it's mostly just like iron and andesite that you need. So just keep that in mind. Now, let's go ahead and grab a bunch of these items and we're going to start crafting a couple things. So to get started, we're going to go ahead and craft a cart assembler. Now, a cart assembler is 3 logs, 2 andesite alloy, redstone dust. Essentially, this is going to allow us to make a cart contraption. You'll see that in a second. It's basically designing an entity made of blocks. Might sound complicated, it's really not. We're also going to make a mechanical plow. That's 3 iron sheets, 3 andesite alloys, and an andesite casing. This is going to pick up our rails that our contraption is going to move on and make them so they're reusable, so we don't have to have so many rails. Now, we're also going to make deployers. We're going to make a ton of them. I believe we've used deployers in the past, but just in case, they're Electron Tubes, Cogwheels, Andesite Casings, and a brass hand. And we're going to make 53 of them. Yeah, a lot. We're also going to make mechanical drills so we can actually drill into the items, and that's going to be 3 andesite alloys, an iron ingot, and andesite casing, and we're going to make 24 of those. Yes, I definitely did say that this is going to be a very expensive episode. So to start out, I recommend you actually come up to the surface to build your drill. This is going to make it easier to design the drill and alleviate a ton of problems. So I'm actually at the surface, and then we'll bring it down underground or into the nether to go ahead and test this thing out. Now, one thing you want to do is press F3 and G on your keyboard. That will show your chunk borders, and that's going to show you on how to design your drill. Because you can see right here with the light blue concrete, I've outlined an entire chunk. So our idea is that we're going to build the center of our drill at the center of a chunk so it can mine the entire level of a chunk 2 blocks high in one stride. At least that's the goal. So you're just going to go ahead and pick a spot generally in the center. It doesn't have to be exact. Place down a rail, place down a cart assembler, place down a lever on the side, and if you look at the top of the cart assembler, you're going to see an arrow. This is the direction that the drill is going to be facing, so make sure that you're placing your drills on this side and as opposed to this side. Now that's placed, you can actually place a minecart with a furnace attached to the cart assembler. This is going to be our main area of the contraption to make it move. Now, what we have done here is all we've done is place a minecart with a furnace on a rail with some kind of contraption on top. We now have to build the actual contraption, and you might have realized that it was sticky on top of the cart assembler, so anything we attach to the top is going to stick to the minecart. So we're going to place the chassis, and then we're going to place down super glue, one more chassis, super glue, a chassis, and one more time super glue chassis, and then place one underneath so that this pattern is connected. This means that these linear chassis are linked together. Place super glue, and we're going to grab our mechanical plow and place that underneath. So essentially our contraption is going to move, and this is going to pick up our rails and put it back into the system. Now, something to keep in mind, I know some people that have used Create Mod for a long time are looking at this and going, Rocket, you don't need to super glue these chassis. I'm doing that just in case people misplace the linear chassis or they end up using other blocks. This will alleviate those problems. That's why I'm using super glue. But we will get back to the issues that linear chassis can cause in a second. Once we've done that, we're going to place down another piece of glue in the front, a linear chassis, and then one more super glue linear chassis. And then this is where we're going to place down one below, go out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up 1, and continue to make this so it's too high. Same to the side, we're going to go up and place them out. Now, depending on where you've centered your contraption, the one thing you want to make sure is that it's going 1 block in from the chunk border. So you can see right here, we have our chunk border and we have these 2 blocks. Make sure you go 1 in and go ahead and place our linear chassis down. Now that this is complete, I'm going to kind of go over what this is doing. So we have this contraption moving and we have this wall that we have created. Now in front of this wall, we actually want to place down our drills so we can actually go ahead and drill into whatever we run into. So we're just going to super glue this side by just simply right clicking with super glue. Then we're going to grab our mechanical drills and just simply place them against the super glue so it's attached to the contraption. And if you are new to the Create mod, you might think, oh, I need a power source. You actually don't. As long as the minecart is moving, all of these drills will move, and that works for any type of contraption like that. So we don't have to worry about that problem. But we do have to worry about actually placing our rails down. So above this linear chassis and up top, we're going to place down one more linear chassis right here, super glue, grab a deployer, and place it so that it is facing downwards. So it's facing into this linear chassis. Now, we also want to do, this is a really key and critical step, look at the filter and right click with a rail. That will set the filter to be a rail, and we want it to do that because as we're mining, we're going to pick up other materials like cobblestone, redstone, things like that. We don't want this placing cobblestone and redstone here. We only want it ever placing rails. So keep that in mind. Also, you're going to notice that we have our deployer right in the beginning placing a rail here, but we don't actually have a rail right here. So we're going to place down one single rail in front of the minecart contraption so that when this rail is placed, we are good to go. Once we do that, we can actually go ahead and super glue onto the back of every one of these linear chassis and place down chests. This is going to be essentially our inventory for our contraption. So once all these chests are filled up, it won't be able to pick up items anymore, but this will allow us to have plenty of storage, and we can do this on both sides. You can also add some storage in other different locations, kind of the main idea. As long as the hole has been drilled so that the chest is not going to be like filled into a space, you should be fine. This will allow it so you can still access it when you're underground or in the nether. Now, once this is complete, this is going to be the more of the trickier side of this. So right now we have a drill. If we started this up, it would drill through things, but what we're running into a problem is if we run into water or lava or anything, it will spew down, and if it touches this minecart, it will break the contraption and place all the blocks right there and then. That could cause some issues. You could actually lose some chests, you could lose the whole contraption. So what we need to do is actually protect this cart. That is our main goal through this entire design. And what we're gonna do is basically build a wall of cobblestone every single time and then mine through a 2-block high area, which will allow us to walk through as well as the contraption to go through. Sounds a little complicated, trust me, but it will work. Just go ahead and follow my lead. So we're gonna right click on the linear chassis with super glue, place down our last linear chassis, place down super glue again, and then the deployer. And now we're gonna build a wall of deployers. So we're gonna go out to the side and super glue deployer, super glue deployer. Now, once we've done these 2 levels, so one level is above the drills, one level is against these drills, but it's been glued to these deployers, we're also going to do one out to the side. So this is making it so once this is drilled right in here, we're also building a wall against it, we're building a ceiling, and we're also going to build a floor in a few seconds. So let's continue to place more deployers. There we go. So we've built our wall of deployers, and just to make sure, because I know that there's going to be a lot of issues with this, if you look at our drills are in the center, and we have deployers outlining the entire outside, but we've also put deployers in front, and that is so if we run into like a lava lake, it's going to build right through it. It's not just protecting from the outside, it's also protecting for anything that we go through. It'll even protect against like caves and things like that, so we don't have to worry about anything along those lines. Once that's all been placed, make sure to actually fill in our dirt or whatever block you've mined up. This will just alleviate some more problems. We're also gonna have to fix one before we start this machine, but this is gonna make sure that our first run of the machine is gonna work fine. Now that that's complete, we can actually open up any one of our chests, throw our rails in, and throw any cobblestone you want. You want to throw in at least a tiny bit of cobblestone to start off, and then from there it'll mine its own cobblestone. Or if you are in the nether, you're going to want to put netherrack in, and that is just so it can begin to start building some walls, and then it will gather its own, and you can pull these items out if you ever need to. Another thing we want to do is look at the side of this cart assembler and scroll wheel down until it says lock rotation. This will help out for any type of issues with rail placement. It's not going to spin around in a circle and kill you. It will go ahead and stop that. So just remember to do that as well. So I actually realized that before we start our machine up, we have forgot to do one step, and that is to actually set the filters to all of these deployers to be cobblestone, or it needs to be set to netherrack, and that's going to make it so it's only placing those blocks. It's not going to place the ores that we mine. It's not going to place rails. It's only going to place these blocks, which is exactly what we're looking for. So just go ahead and do this before you start your machine. All right, and once that's done, I recommend taking a couple rails out. Make sure your cobblestone is still in there, and grab some blocks to build. For me, I just have some dirt. Grab your coal, and then we're going to go ahead and flick our machine on. And I recommend maybe just taking a brief look. Right now, everything should have turned to an entity, so you can't see the outline of a block if you're looking at it. Just make sure, see if anything has been placed incorrectly. You'll also realize your deployers have already placed their first wall of cobblestone. but you can see that all of our deployers are active because they have placed the cobblestone. So just verify that. And once that has been complete, you're going to want to make sure you look down and you're going to see that there are our deployers that we have placed in the floor, and you're going to want to fill this in with dirt. It might sound weird, but that's because we've actually created a little bit of a hole in the ground, and we don't want our machine to fall through on like the second block. If that does happen though, you can just simply place down a rail and a block and it will just continue to move. But once we are at this point, we are good to go. So all we're going to do is right click on our minecart with a furnace with coal, and our machine is going to start to move, and you're going to see it's placing down cobblestone walls, and it is mining through and creating a little bit of a tunnel for us, but it's also not placing cobblestone where the blocks have already been placed. So there we go. We actually have our machine up and running. All right, so now that our machine is up and running up top, let's say we want to go ahead and pick our machine up. All we're going to do is hold out our wrench and shift right click on the minecart with a furnace, and it will pick up the entirety of the machine. And that also includes all of the rails that are inside of the inventory and its entire inventory system. I do want to point out, because you're going to see that it didn't place all of the cobblestone. It actually ran out because it wasn't mining cobblestone, it was mining leaves and grass. But this will work once we're underground. But now we've picked up our minecart contraption, we're just going to go ahead and grab our cart assembler, our lever, and we're going to grab our rail, and we're going to head underground to go ahead and test this thing out. All right, so I've gone underground, and if we check F3, I am on level 11, which I know level 12 is usually where you find diamonds. I've gone down one block below because when we place our drill down, it's going to mine Y level 11 and 12. Figured that that's the best bet, but you can use other Y levels, whatever you're looking for. And we're just going to, again, go to about the center of the chunk, and we're going to go ahead and place down our rail, our cart assembler, and our contraption. Make sure, just do one little look around, make sure that everything has been placed correctly. You might notice, depending on how your contraption is, it might automatically start placing a tiny bit of cobblestone, and you will realize that this machine has already run out of cobblestone. So we're going to go ahead and throw more cobblestone into this chest. We still have rails in here. You will notice that this entire contraption has gone back to blocks, so you can just place the contraption down in a cart assembler that has no redstone signal, and it will go ahead and just place it down as blocks, and that's where you can actually access the inventory. Make sure to place your rail right here, and then go ahead and activate this guy. And once it's activated, also make sure to go ahead and fill in those holes in the ground once again. You don't want to forget that step, which actually already screwed up by placing a single block. And then once that has all been placed down, just another triple check. We're on Y level 11. We are in the center of a chunk so that it should be mining a majority of this chunk totally fine. And once we are good to go, we're just going to grab our coal, right click on the minecart, and it's going to start mining. Let's see if this is all working correctly. There we go. It's looking like it's looking perfect. So you're going to notice here is that it has filled in the cobblestone for where it started, and it's now not filling in any cobblestone because it hasn't run into any type of holes. Now, if you see your machine getting low, just simply right click with coal, and it will go ahead and power it up so it can continue to move. So just use coal. Anything that can be used in a furnace, you usually can use inside of a furnace minecart, even some modded blocks, depending on the mods that you're using. But you can see it's already uncovering redstone. I think it uncovered iron back there, and it's probably already mined some diamonds for us because it will continue or put them right into the chest for us. But let's see if we can find any diamonds just kind of off to the sides. All right, we've been mining for maybe 10 seconds so far. We've found gold, we've found a ton of coal, so you can see that even though we're using a good amount of it, we're gonna find it just by mining. We found redstone, we've actually found some diamonds, some lapis, looks like redstone, maybe iron, and a couple other odds and ends. I figured just to showcase this even more, because you're only seeing the things that it's missed, we're gonna go ahead and actually pick up our minecart contraption using our wrench, and we're just gonna light this up so no mobs spawn. Look at that, even more diamonds. And we're gonna go back to our cart assembler, place them down, and see what else that we can find. All right, so I've placed down into our cart assembler. I've shut off the signal, so it's no longer an entity. And we just have to find out what chest it's actually placed the items in. There we go. So it looks like it actually found 4 diamonds, 32 lapis, tons of cobblestone, diorite. Over here, it's found some redstone, some iron, gold, more cobblestone. It's found poppies and oak logs and stuff from up top when I tested it outside. But you can see it has all of these different items. And of course, if we wanted to bring this all up to the surface, you would just activate it, pick it up with a wrench, and bring it all the way up to the ceiling, and we are good to go. There we go. So that's where I'm going to be ending this video. I do want to state this can be also used in the Nether. The only difference is that you just need to pick a different level and just instead of using cobblestone, use netherrack, and it will be exactly the same. This can also mine ancient debris, so keep that in mind. It can mine them and pick them up for you, just in case you want to do it a little bit more safer. But this is, of course, going to work for diamonds or for any level of mining, even to run through someone's house if you really wanted to. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, drop a like, feel free to subscribe, and I will see you guys all in the next one.